So today we're here with Megan Greenwood of Greenwood Brewing. Megan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Great.
How are you?
Doing well. And we've got an awesome beer mimosa today from your brew house sitting right behind us.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Megan.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting in the brewery. So this is Greenwood Brewing. We launched the brewery in 2017-ish, but we opened this space in 2020, in July of 2020, which, if you all remember, that's last year, which was an interesting time to open a business.
But you persevered.
Yeah.
I see a lot of customers in here a lot, and
Yeah.
we have quite a few events with you at America's Future.
Yes, we do. Yeah, it's been a great space, but the story kind of starts back before that. I'm an engineer, and I started in my career in manufacturing. And I was talking about this the other day, and I was like, I would go down the aisles when I was working at Whirlpool Amana in Amana, Iowa, making refrigerators. And I'd go down the line, and I was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be, is doing this. Processes, manufacturing, just developing a product that it just felt so cool to me that somebody was going to use this in their home. You know, someone's going to take this, they're going to purchase it and use it. And that feeling never went away. And so I followed a manufacturing lifestyle for 12 years where I worked for several different manufacturers, and eventually started homebrewing at the same time. I received a homebrew kit for my birthday from my roommate, who said, I think you'd really love homebrewing. Turns out, sure enough, I loved homebrewing, and we ended up marrying these two passions of mine, which I'm from the Midwest, so one of my passions is naturally beer. If you're a Midwesterner, you know what I'm talking about. And then manufacturing, and it kind of ended up, a lot of hurdles were jumped to get to this point, but that's kind of how the whole history started, was marrying these two passions.
So you mentioned manufacturing. To me, that's kind of the backbone of America.
Yeah.
There's so many blue-collar workers that are in manufacturing, supply chain, and just like you said, placing products and accessories into American homes.
Right.
So tell me a little bit, how important is manufacturing in America?
I mean, it's a foundation, and you don't really think about it, but everything you use, and if we are always consuming something that's made somewhere else, how do we all survive? It's when we opened with 14 positions in this space, and that's huge in the middle of COVID.
That's a lot of jobs.
That's a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
And when every manufacturing facility I've worked at, it requires people, and it offers great paying jobs for people that love that position, that love to make something, that love to create and produce, and it is it's imperative that we have that here.
So Megan, you mentioned keeping jobs in America, so to say. One thing that has happened, especially in the past few years under the Biden administration, is we're sending jobs back out to other countries. Taking revenue away from American taxpayers, offering more tax breaks to other countries. What's your philosophy about keeping work in America?
Well, I have watched every single company I've worked for send manufacturing facilities overseas, every single one, because it's so difficult to make any money here if you're making so much more money by putting that manufacturing facility across a border, and that I know that so much that, like, even the stainless steel, I would love to buy this from America. I would love to have bought this from the United States, because I come from, like, every manufacturing facility. I didn't live in another country, so doing manufacturing, so I know the value of buying something that's made here, because I've seen the people who work there. I know the people who are provided the jobs and the lifestyle for that. And so I know when I went to go buy these, it was going to cost me twice two times buying this in America than it was buying them from China. And I had to make that decision as a business owner coming from a manufacturing background. And it became you can't afford it. So the more that we send all of those manufacturing facilities somewhere else, the fewer manufacturing facilities that are here that won't compete with each other, that don't have the materials, they don't have the supply chain, because everything is moved overseas, which just makes everything more expensive. So now these manufacturing facilities are buying their products from the facilities in China or wherever to supply their American manufacturing facility, because everything moves with the manufacturing facility.
Absolutely.
The engineers, the designers, all of the supply chain, all of their vendors, they're all going to move. It's not like you just have one, the stainless just moves. No, all of our fittings, all of our welders, they all move too. Or they're all, somebody else that's going to do that, and somebody just lost their job here. It's very real. It's a very real problem that you don't even think about. Like I went to go buy a USA hat for the 4th of July, and it was made in China. It was just like, this is like...
That's insane, right?
It's hysterical, honestly. It's just like, how does that even happen? But like, as so many people today go into a brewery, it's manufacturing, it's craft though too. So like, we do have art, an artistic touch, a signature in beer. But the brewery, there's a reason why you love going to a brewery. You love seeing that product made there. You love seeing the person who makes the product. We should have that kind of passion around all of the products we buy. Your shirts, your pants, your toothbrush, everything. Because like, when you see that's made by your neighbor, that's gonna be so much more valuable to you.
Absolutely. Megan, there's not very many female brewers out there. Mm-hmm. I have to say, I hope that after telling your story today, more and more start popping up. But kind of switching gears for a minute, right now in the state of California, there is a quota mandated by the state whereby corporate boards have to have a certain number of females on their board of directors. Do you see there's a problem with that and kind of taking a step back in how females have achieved such great entrepreneurship in America?
So one thing about Greenwood that I love is that I truly believe that I'm inspiring other women to do exactly what I'm doing. Run a business, start a business, invest in themselves, take a risk. I was just in a staff meeting yesterday, and we were talking about how women tend to hold themselves back. They don't think that they don't believe that they're valuable enough to be on a board like that. We need to be boosting women up. We need to be encouraging them to start their American dream, to be entrepreneurial, to go out there and do what she wants to do, and like take life and fly. And I think that mandating on a board might not be the best way to do that. In my opinion, we need to be encouraging women. That's how women grow, is through encouragement, and to be that person, to do what she wants to go and get on that board herself without having to mandate it. She needs to be on the board no matter what. Yeah. But
and she's capable of being on the board.
And that board needs her.
Yep.
And so, but let's get her started. Let's get her going. So she's not so it's not this the stereotype doesn't stick where like a woman is getting a boost because she's a woman, which we all know that stereotype is out there, and that she's valued on day one because she's already done the things to get on the board. Like that's where we need to be starting, is encouraging our women to kick ass. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like my husband is that way. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have a partner that was like I couldn't have a partner that wasn't encouraging of me being all about women empowerment. And still being like, go get them, Megan, every day, you know, because it's so critical to America that we have women in these seats too, because she does a lot of the decision making. She buys all the things in your house. I bet, like 80% of them. She makes sure your household is run. Why can't she do that for America too? She should.
Or her own company.
Right, her own company, of course.
And one barrier I see is just kind of what you're saying is that confidence in some entrepreneurs. And it goes across men and women. I mean, there's always that sort of blockade as, you know, why can't I do something? Why won't I do something really should be the question. And, you know, I tell every entrepreneur I speak to this. My favorite video of all time, I don't know if you've seen it, it's Shia LaBeouf screaming at a camera saying, just do it, just do it. And he's just screaming for about 10 minutes saying those 3 words, just do it. Mm-hmm. And when I first became an entrepreneur and started some of my first companies, I did it because of that video, because I asked myself, why am I not just doing it? Mm-hmm. And I really think it's a conversation that both men and women need to start having with themselves is, do you want to stay in corporate America? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to become a CEO and start your own business and chase that American dream you talked about? Mm-hmm. Because one thing that is vital to America is capitalism. Mm-hmm. We are the only country in the entire world that allows you to start something from the ground up. I mean, you are a spinning image, an example of just that. You start a brewery from scratch. Mm-hmm. You invested your time, your money, and you built an expertise around a product that you wanted to genuinely learn about. Mm-hmm. And so, Megan, when you're talking with your staff, what type of encouragement do you provide them on a day-to-day basis? I know you mentioned your staff meeting and you had to help some of the females on your staff, mm-hmm. you know, make them realize that, hey, you can do this.
Mm-hmm. That's constant.
Yeah.
I'm constantly doing that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the difference is with men, I think, is that you've been competitive your whole life. You've always, like, from day one, like, I look at my nephews and they are so competitive. My 5-year-old is racing the 8-year-old down the hill every day. I mean, that is just not how girls grow up. They don't grow up that way. It's more collaborative. Girls grow up. So it starts from way before. So to get that competitive mindset kind of takes some training. I was just talking to my husband about this yesterday, watching the Olympics. So many women Olympians talk about their dad being the person who motivated them, who took them to all their training. And I was like, this is so interesting that all of these women all talk about their dad doing this with them. It's just that competitiveness isn't in as much inherent in growing up as a girl as it is in a boy. Okay, so we start there. But so as you get older, you constantly are like, women are constantly like, I need to bring someone along with me. We had a talk here where we had a panel, and the woman, that's what she said. I really believe in giving credit where credit is due and giving credit to the people who came along with me. Men don't do that. Men never do that. Women need to take credit for their own credit, you know, and she needs to learn, and so it takes learning to have that confidence to be competitive and take that risk. And you have to have someone along the way almost to really push you to do that. Even when I was starting Greenwood, I met with several investors. I met with partners that I thought I needed, all men. I'm starting a women empowerment brand. Why the hell am I talking to men about starting a business? Yeah. I just thought that I needed it. I was like, there's no way I can do this by myself. And then it was like, no, I can do this by myself. I can do this alone. I don't need somebody next to me. I don't need a man next to me. And that was like, but I have a mother who owned the business as a child. She owned Greenwood Grocery in my hometown. You know, she was like a boss, and I had that growing up. Not a lot of women have that growing up. So they see their role models and they see their mothers, and maybe she's a stay-at-home mom. Well, then we need to like have that mom be like, hey, you can do anything you want. So a lot of my staff conversations, going back to that, start with, what do you want to do? Where is your passion? What makes you drive? What gets you excited? Those kind of things, we don't get asked those questions. We're kind of like, we're gonna make sure everybody else has everything they need. That's a typical woman, like what she thinks she needs to do. We're gonna make sure everybody has everything.
What about you?
What about her?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's where it starts. The conversation starts with, and I do this with every single person that works for me, not just our women, all of our men, that we have conversations. What are your goals? What do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Really, think about your age. Think about your age in 10 years. Where do you want to be? What's your ideal day? What do you want to do on your ideal day? If that includes a horse and a horseback riding, well, you better learn how to ride a horse. You know, just first start with the basics. What is it that you love? And let's go from there. It's different with men. I think it's a little different. And that's why we see a lot of men that are starting their businesses and start this, because it's just natural from a childhood all the way up to starting that, saying yes and listening to a video and just doing it.
That's right.
But it's like, for women, we need a little bit more of a push to be like, and encouragement. Encouragement. Men need competition, women need encouragement. Encouragement just to be like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do whatever you want. Not only that, but you're ready. You have the qualifications. You already have these are just people around you. Everybody's pretending at some point in their life. And so just do it. Just go for it.
So Megan, at America's Future, you're one of our key partners in the movement to promote liberty across the state of Arizona, and also get so many entrepreneurs from various backgrounds, different ideologies, together for a conversation in your beer garden, which is actually right behind us. One of the discussions we hosted here was about empowerment of the individual and adversity, and how people face that in their lives every day. Whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a worker, or hell, even a car wash attendant, you're facing some sort of adversity. Now, as a brewer, I'm sure you have faced some sort of adversity. I've actually heard you talk about it before. So can you tell us a little bit about the challenges you faced when creating this dynamite company that we're standing in right now, and kind of what you had to overcome along the way?
Every day you're facing something as a business owner, as a small business owner. Outside of policy and politics and taxes and all the things that you have to pay for every day that you're like, oh my gosh, how does anybody make money? I'd say when we were starting, it took me 3 years to build the space. And I think one of the biggest challenges was actually finding somebody who even took me seriously as a woman going in to take out a loan to build a brewery. They're like, that's cute. That's a cute idea. That's so, that's adorable that you want to start a brewery.
And how'd that make you feel?
I mean, honestly, that kind of stuff fuels me.
Yeah.
That is just like, we get that all the time from people, like our customers, that are like, yeah, this is no. And I'm like, you're going to be calling me one day trying to get me to borrow money from you. You're going to be calling me one day trying to get my beer into your place, because it's going to be such a badass beer that you're going to feel like you don't have the best beer in town because you don't have Greenwood Brewing beer. I know that's going to happen, so I'll answer your call and I'll say, sorry, I don't have time. You know, that kind of stuff is just like, it drives me to do more. And when I would go to get a loan, I mean, it was so many people. The only people who really took me seriously were young women, to be honest with you, because they were like, I see this woman, I know who she is. Not like they know who I am personally. They know what kind of person I am. They saw the drive, they saw the passion, they saw the idea.
They feel the energy.
They feel the energy. They're like, this woman is not going to fail. I mean, they're not going to lose. She's not going to lose my money, you know. And but most men, actually, when I would meet with them, they wouldn't even give me the time of day. And I was like, I'm about to borrow $1 million to build this brewery, and I can't even get you to call me back. And it was just kind of like, that's something that is like, that's the constant. That is, but that, some people would be like, all like men hating about it and whatever. I think it's like, this is where I'm just like, I know I'm better than you, because I'm better than you, but like, I know that I'm going to succeed more than you because my eyes are open. Your eyes are half shut. You're missing an opportunity here. That's the beauty of commerce, though. That's the beauty of America, is that somebody can say no to me and I will find somebody else. It's no different than like us opening in the middle of July last year. Was that controversial? Hell yeah, it was controversial. One of our brand pillars is inclusivity, and I want to make sure that I'm inclusive of everybody. That's people who didn't want me to open, people who did want me to open, people who were scared, people who were not scared, everybody. We had an option for everyone when we opened. But that was my choice and my decision as a business. And that's what I love about where we live, is that I can make that decision for me. I can make that decision for me. Other people can make that decision for themselves. We just had somebody come out that needs a vaccine passport to go to their restaurant. Hey, that's their right. That's their right in America. If they want to be that, if they want to do that for their customers, great. It's my choice to go there or not, and that's where I know, like, these people that I was working with, or that kind of blew me off. It's like, I already know that I'm one step ahead, because you don't even take a woman seriously who's going to build her first brewery, not her only brewery, her first brewery, and you lost that partnership. You're not just doing that to me, you're doing that to every person like me that's walking into your door. So that's, I would say that was kind of like it was kind of this turning point. Every time that happens, you learn something new. And it was like a turning point where it was like, where are you going to go from here? Are you going to keep moving forward? Or are you going to take that and fold up shop and go back to your corporate job? No. It's like, okay, I'm going to find somebody that does. And there will be somebody that does believe in that. Believe in you. Believe in your passion, your vision, everything. There always will be. And that, like, today still is what drives me today.
This is not your first brewery. Tell us a little bit about the plan for Greenwood Brewing and where you guys are going.
Yeah, it's funny, we just had a meeting with Total Wine, so we just got into all the Total Wines in Arizona.
Congratulations.
Yay. Thank you.
Cheers to that.
Yes.
I gotta start drinking my beer here.
Yeah, right. Our beer mosas, which are delicious. So for Greenwood, my vision is really, so the reason why I got into it is because when I was home brewing, I would go out to a bar, tap room, and somebody would automatically stereotype me as drinking the blueberry nitro, whatever, like blueberry something. And my husband would be the one who would want the IPA in their eyes. Well, it's actually exactly opposite. My husband loves the blueberry things, and I am like, I love the IPAs. But it was just like, even down to the person who was taking our order had that mentality. And I was like, And as a woman, I just felt like I was being mismarketed to, underrepresented. Just like nobody was thinking about me as a consumer. What do I want in a beer? How do I want to hold it? How do I want it to feel? How much do I want to drink in one session? No one's really thinking about a woman when they're doing that. We're all thinking about a bearded man with a flannel shirt on, but that's because 78% of breweries in America are owned by men only. So who are they going to think about when they're making their beer? They're thinking about themselves.
The male consumer.
Right. They're thinking about, who am I? What do I like? And that's just because, and even like, you'll see a lot of brewers, like this is their second or third or fourth like change in their life. It's not like they come out of college and they're like, I'm going to start a brewery. That's pretty rare. So like they might not even be thinking about building a brewery or distributing. And that's typically what people like Total Wine see, are people that they kind of started this as a hobby with no real end point in mind, because they love brewing, they love making this product, they love craft beer. And so when we talked to her, I was like, no, this is what I'm trying to do, is being on your shelf. I want to grow this will be our tap room, one and only tap room, for as long as I'm the only owner. If Winnie Odell from Odell Brewing Company comes and knocks on my door next week and says, hey, we want to add you to our portfolio, I'll be like, hell yeah, Winnie Odell. I'll add, if you want to build 3 more tap rooms, I'm on board.
Yeah.
But if I am the only owner of this space, I will, this will be our only tap room. I really believe in having a space where people can come and understand your culture. That's any facility. You come, you enjoy a beer here, you understand who we are, you meet our staff, you just get to know who we are as a brand and business, and how you feel afterward is our culture. But after that, I want our beer to be in the hands of people while they're out with their friends, while they're camping, while they're going on the boat. I saw this opportunity because every time I went to go buy a beer that was like that checked all the things I wanted, I ended up buying a big beer company product, not craft, not independently owned, not brewed down the street, brewed in, by Budweiser next to all the other Budweiser products, And so it was like, to me, I was like, this is the perfect place. I can look and create a product that targets this customer who's not even being thought of. Even Michelob Ultra, who is the only beer really that targets a woman. They didn't even want to target a woman. They actually are trying to target more men with their product. Instead of just getting into this niche of women, 50%, 52% of beings in America or whatever, 175 million women, instead of just looking at that niche, they are trying to get more men drinking their beer. It's like no one's thinking about her. And so that's where I want to be that. I want to be that product that she's like, I know she's thinking about me. I know knows that I'm not going to drink the end of this if it gets warm. So I want something small that can fit in my small hand, just all these little details that no one's thinking about. And so I want to be that as long as that takes me.
So Megan, a question I ask all of our guests that come onto the show, and it's a big question. What does freedom actually mean to you?
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit, or touched on it a little bit, but freedom to me, is being in corporate America and deciding one day that I want to build a brewery when all of my family and friends thought I was absolutely crazy, and going and getting $1 million loan and building a space that took 3 years to build, opening in a pandemic, hiring 14 full-time people that work here that now have full-time jobs, celebrating a 1-year anniversary, having live music. I mean, that's all freedom. And my friends, we talk about this a lot, because some of them tell me, we're not free here. We are free here. We have to protect those freedoms every day, and our decisions every day decide if we're going to protect them. But we are free. Today we are free. You can do whatever you want. You can read whatever you want. You can talk about whatever you want. You can listen to whatever you want. You can own whatever you want. I mean, that is freedom, right? And you get to decide as a person what you do with that.
And you can compete.
Right.
In a free market.
Right, and you can compete in a free market. Yes, right. And people, you attract people to come to your space and spend money with you. Those are all freedoms. I get to decide how I want to market to people. I get to decide if that we do need to protect freedom. I mean, especially today more than ever, I do believe that. Because it's delicate. Freedom is delicate. And but today, yes, that is what freedom means to me, is opportunity and taking life and running and flying.
Excellent. Well, Megan, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you being here with us today, and phenomenal mimosa beer. I highly recommend everybody come down to Greenwood Brewing, meet Megan and her team, and get to know what's happening down here in downtown Phoenix on Roosevelt Row.
Love it.
Megan, thank you for everything.
Thanks, Austin.
And now we're going to sit here and enjoy this beer.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.